All right, I went ahead and took my sticky note numbers from the vending machine, our inputs, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and I placed them in a mapping representation. So the first time we pushed the -1 button, if you remember, we got a -2. And that was the correct answer that we should have gotten. But then I went ahead and I pushed that -1 button again, except our second answer ended up being a -4, which we knew was incorrect because 2 times 0 or 2 times -1 is not 4. So the reason that this here is not a function is because our input, -1, should only produce one output. But in this instance, our input, -1, produced 2 outputs. So even though the rest of these only produced 1, because this -1 produced 2 outputs, that made it not a function. So there are multiple ways that you'll see data represented, and so I just laid it out here. I took the same numbers, but I just put it in different forms so you could see what you might see later on. So here in this example, we have a table, and if you see, the numbers are the same. But the reason that we have not a function is because we have a -1 producing a -2 and a -1 producing a 4. Same here, a -1 to a -2 and a -1 to a 4. So our input of -1 had more than one output. And then in this last, the graphing example, this is where we can use the vertical line test. So here's my vertical line test. When I take this vertical line right here and I drag it across, I notice that it crosses these 2 yellow dots, which are the coordinate pairs, more than once. So whatever the representation is, you should know that if an input has 2 different outputs or 3 or whatever, it is not a function.